Okay. Now, first I'll the book.
So basically, do you want to recap or want to try at the chapter 7?
We can have an overview of chapter 7. Okay. And we will repeat the chapter 7 once again in next cover classes.
Okay. So you will basically overview all the recap.
No,
all the
actually,
previous.
yeah. Actually, you are going to be an expert opinion today. I'll just go through the book. So let me share the screen, then see. And I also involve some other people's. This is I can see in the list there the people with us are very usual participant. For example, Bilal and Hamza. Hello, Bilal and Hamza. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, everyone? So. I'm trying to reach chapter 7. Awais, we have done chapter 6 fully?
Yes, sir.
Nothing left in the chapter 6, huh? Okay?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Okay. This is a very excellent book in form of API design, because most of the time API designing is always be a part of I could say a part of other topic or other content. It was never been a full book. I never seen book with this thing that have a full and fully covered everything from the API point of view. So guys, in the last class we have learned about that how we can design the API or API centric application. And in the last chapter 6, if you are good to go, you should open the book at your own screen while following us, so you can scroll up and scroll down and find something new and something better, and you can comment here. In the last class, we have done some sort of post things, request bodies, and some examples, parameters and their path, and so many things. Anyone want to ask or provide any feedback or comment regarding this? Bilal, Hamza? Okay. Is everyone understand what is the difference between the post and get? These are the questions you have to answer yourself. Okay. Now today we are going to another very important chapter of API designing, which is authentication and authorization. Before that, we have used the API. Everyone can access that API and our API would respond. But this is not an always required practices. Sometimes we need to provide some sort of authentication. So only legitimate user or authorized, or you can say authenticated user, can access our API. And on the other hand, there is some sort of authorization. For example, if someone has authenticated that it is a valid user, then we can design API an API that only available, that is authorized to a particular person. For example, only admin or manager is authorized to check other profiles. So when he go and find out some sort of updates or some sort of checking of the other users' profiles in any application, it should have a role that should be a manager or higher one. So only manager role would be authorized to check his profile of his team or his department and this type of things. But before that, he has to be authenticated using a user ID or password or a key. Usually, it might possible that we have a private public key type of system and this type of thing, whatever. So this is my opinion that how we can have authorization and authentication. Aves, you want to add something?
Yeah, sure. Actually, authentication and authorization, the difference between those two words is there is an authentication where you want to authenticate a person, that what person is accessing that portal, for example. Now, in that portal, there is some features where everyone cannot be access those features. So for that purpose, we can just do for the authorization that a specific person has a right and is authorized to do some specific task. So this is the difference between authentication and authorization.
That's great. Anyone want to add something in this regard?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Sir, I'm sorry, my internet is not working good. I mean, 10 minutes, 20 times Zoom is crashed, but if I cut the connection, I will connect back. Sir, I'm talking about that.
First of all, today your voice is very good. So
thank you, sir.
This is really amazing.
Sir, the example like authentication and authorization is when we log into the Facebook authenticate us. This is my ID. But when we are creating pages and other managers are manage the page, all the managers have not all access to manage the page. Like someone can only manage the post, but someone can also pay the bills. This is, I think, in my point of view, difference between the authentication and authorization. If I'm wrong, sir, can you correct me?
Yeah, your point is extremely clear and good, because authorization is a very vast thing, but we have to be focused that in authentication and authorization is a part of I think every application or even non-application. For example, if you go into the bank, so when you enter into the bank classified zone, so the bank staff or something else or lock, you have to unlock a door with your ID card, and using that ID card you can get inside your bank safe area. There is a two area, one is a classified area and one is a user area or customer area. In the customer area everyone can go, there is no need for authentication. But when you go to the classified area, you have to go with your ID and some sort of key. So it is kind of authentication. But if someone go and need to get cash, it might need that only a certain person is authorized to provide you cash or deposit your cash. Not every employee of the bank, even that employee is a legitimate user of the bank. He is not authorized to keep your deposits in your account or provide you a withdrawal, or you can say the cash from your account. So as you can see that authorization and authentication exists in the normal procedure also. But the today's focus is not authentication and authorization. is related to any other thing. It is related to the API. Now, in the API, there is a certain challenges. For example, API does not have a proper user interface. Agree or not agree?
Sir, I usually API has in JSON format and also a YAML format.
Of course.
It's not have the proper UI format.
Yeah. So that is a challenge, that how can we keep authentication and authorization in the API. So today we are going to explore such things. And as you can, the summary, we need some token system and post review operation and many things. Okay. So first thing you have to learn that there is a special form of authorization exists. The course of type of authentication. So we describe them important. And this is, you can read this very carefully, so you can see that what sort of API or authentication available or not. Okay. So anything from Aves, from your side?
No, sir, we can move on.
Okay. So here we can see, if you go and find out of an example project, which is the form style API. This is a very critical chapter. So if you have any issue, please discuss, and we will try to repeat this chapter in next class also. So we can get expert opinion from Sir Zia. But today we and Aves trying to provide you some review. So if you see and check the form style API, and in the Swagger, if you want to see its API specification on the YAML, so we have introduced a new thing which is called security, which does not exist before. And in this area, we have a my user token and a special parameter which would have a token. You can see this thing. So as you can see, there is a user ID. I'm trying to enlarge the screen. Aves, you can see the screen well. Is that clear?
Yes.
So in this, we can say that this time for adding the security, in most of the API approach, we provided a token, a user ID. You can see this is a user ID. Which exists, and for more specifically, we will use a token. So for now, when we need to send data over the API, along with the data, we provide two things. The first, the user ID, and the second, a token, so we can be authenticated. As you can see, the extra user ID field. So if you want, I could share this. You can also check the API yourself, or you can open the book and check yourself. I'm just trying to review the context. Then we will go through to find out some practical example if some time available. So now this is the, we can say, the diagram which is added, the authentication and authorization also. Nothing else, ignore. Okay. How our authorization with flow, which is exist in 7.1.1, our post reviews, and we will check that it has authorization header or not. If it is yes, then we will check that the header is valid or not. And if it is valid, we will create the user review. Otherwise, we will say this is auto. And if there is no, we can say create anonymous user and user. Can anyone has any issue understanding this simple but very effective way of handling authorization? Anyone? Just try to describe the thing, and I'll give a chance to Bilal and Awais, everyone, to provide your opinion in this regard. In my point of view, check what would happen. We will call the API. We call API. For example, ignore this post. This is our URL, and after that there is a reviews, and this is the reviews. This time, our API server would also check that the API call contain authorization header or not. If there is no authorization header, we create a review. This is related to the form style API, which is a public API. But we may reject if we want. But this public API allows to create in a anonymous review. So review would be created. But if the token exists, we will check that token is valid or not. If the token is valid, we will allow to create review. Otherwise, we will raise invalid token number 403. Awais, can you please add a little more?
Yeah, sure, sir. Actually, in the previous classes, what we have done is we have just see and pose the thing without any authorization. In this chapter, what we are studying is that how to add an authorization. So if we add an authorization with my user token error, as we have seen in the last picture, if we add that, then what it will do, the API will create an user ID with it, and it will give us the authorized user ID in the response of our request. In the given picture, as we can see that in the post / reviews, if we hit that endpoint, then there is a chart which is given below, is that if there is any authorized header, if it's valid and it has a valid my user token, so what you will going to do, you will create a review with the user ID. If there is an invalid token, you have to show the 403 invalid token error. And if everything goes okay, go to the 201 and the review is created. On the second thing,
let's take a Bilal is not with Shazeb, Noor, Hamza, and Bashir sir. Are you good with this description or have any concern?
I think it's good for me. Thanks.
Okay. Awais, carry on describing this area and the table also.
Yeah. I guess, sir, can you please scroll up a little bit and let me complete the chart. If this everything is okay, if there is an authorized header, then what you have to do is create a valid user token. With that user token, you have to create a ID and create a review with that, with a 201 review created. If anything goes wrong, you have to, that's when there is an invalid token, and show the result of a 403. If there is no token provided, then what it will going to do, it will create an anonymous review, and it will give you a success response, what we are doing in the previous chapter. In this chapter, we have seen in the next few pages that how we can use it and create it with my user token. If we see in the chart below, so can you please scroll down a little? The table 7.1. Yeah. So what it was, it just showing us is that if there is an authorized header, if there is a yes, and if there is a valid user token, if both requests are met, then give us the 201 with a created review, create a review for us with a user ID. If there is no authorized header, then also give us the create review, but the user ID will go on null. And if there is an authorized header, but the user token is not valid, so it will give us the invalid user token. Right, sir?
This is good. Let's move on. I hope everyone has understand the philosophy and the approach that how we would use for the token that design. One thing I have to re-emphasize: the people, we are very much fond of developing things, so we sometimes forget that how things are designed. But this book is very good because it also provides the way how to design. So it says that how you can design something. So it's a good way that you create a table like that in some sort of Excel sheet or some sort of document and write down certain things. So it would be easy when you are going to develop or code your API. Okay. So now that things are designed, now we are going to setting up the authentication. Everyone should read this content. So we will discuss. You have 2 minutes. So in this area, nothing. If you want to have need authorization header, you have to register yourself with the post users, and you can call post tokens, which will return my users token. So this actually authorization header would be acquired when you will go and create authorization token after registering yourself with the API. And this is the way you will register yourself or whatever.
Actually, to create a token, first a user has to be registered.
Yeah.
So what we are going to do is we are just registering a user first. So this is going to be an authenticated process. After that, the authenticated is done. Then we have to create a token, which is goes to the authorization process. So first step to create a user using the authentication, which we have in the given table, like the username, password, and full name. And then after that, when the user is created, then we will create a token for that. So a specific user can review it with a user ID, create a review on that. Sir, your mic is off.
Yeah, fine. You are going fine. So everyone understand that how we are designing that. For the designing, we have two things. For accessing and authorization, we need a token. This is called authorization header. And for the authorization header token, we want someone to register first. And for the registration, we need a username and the password and the full name. Three things. And when the user provides us three things, username, password, and full name, what we will return? We will return create 201, which will say that user has been created successfully. We will return only a status, a user board. And now we have a user schema, username, user full name, and user ID. So over to Aves for his valuable comments.
Yeah, actually, in the user schema, what we are going to do is we are giving that we required a username, full name, and UID. After that, when we provide those parameters, user schema, the user, if we hit that, it will require two things from us: the username and the password. If you provide that username and the password, so the API will know that for which user I have to create a token. So when we provide the username and the password to the post/token endpoint, it will create the token for us. So your mic is mute.
This is fine. So we can moving ahead very fast. So we can understand that which type of requirement we have. So other than username and password and many things and status, we also need a token. Why we need token? Aves, what is your idea? Why we need token? Why we need token, and how the token could help? I guess you have developed a lot of front end using this token wise approach. So can you please provide us some description?
Yeah, sure, sir. Actually, this is the token. This is the area where we are authorizing the user who can access the specific things as we are discussing before. So if you have a token, so API will know that I have to create a review on the API with the user ID. If you do not have any token, so the user ID will become null and it will create a random token. But if we have to know that what user have created a review on the API, we have to provide that token on the given field. So the API will know about it, and we have our desired result, what we want from the API using that token.
Okay, and move on. And this is the schema that we have discussed, that we are specifying that how our authorization and authentication will work. So we can see there is a users and user, there is a post, and there is a request body. In that request body, what we will your schema. In that schema, we would have properties, the username, password, and the full name. And this would be response. Can anyone provide me a user body based on this description in the chat window? I'm waiting. You have 2-3 minutes, and I have opened the chat window. So you can provide me everyone. I suggest everyone. So please write a user body based on this requirement and send to me or Aves. Okay, send to me first. So I'll check. Don't say send to everyone. So Shazeb, Atif, Hamza, Bashir Saab, everyone, please create a example of this request body that we will send to our, you can say, for the Formstyle API to register our user. So how we will write or code that request body? Can you please? I can start from, it will start from 2 curly brackets. Always, am I right? A JSON body should start from the curly bracket.
So we are writing it in YAML.
No, if, for example, if I need to call this API over the REST, how would I call? I need to a JSON body, na, actually.
Yes.
Right. So just for the clear confusion, I'm sharing the start of by user JSON body. Am I writing right? Check everyone. Anyone has any issue? Aves, I am starting right. Is this the right way?
Sir.
Okay, fine. Is this necessary, Aves, to enclose variable names in quotes, or good?
Like you have just done with the username with the colon, or the curly braces.
Should I enclose username in a single quote or double quote?
No, it will just act like same if you want a single quote or double quote.
Okay. Anyone going to write, or no one is going to write? So we don't waste time and move for, or I'll share the solution myself. Is anyone writing a JSON body? Anyone? Raise his hand. Otherwise, I'll share my JSON body for example. No one, I guess. Okay, this is Aves. This is right.
I'm giving you another example, actually.
Okay, is this right? I share you.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
Mr. Ennis, you asked us to write a JSON, but looks like the screen is showing a YAML file, isn't it?
No, his screen is showing, but in the chat window, check the chat window. In the chat window, check. I have write a JSON body. So that JSON body I'll call with actually if I Aves is writing yeah, this is fine. Aves, can you create an API call with this? For example, I guess you need to, for example, if you're calling from TypeScript, so how would you call that? I guess you will use response or result equal to request dot and URL comma body, this type of thing.
If you want to call it on,
yeah, for example, if you calling it into your JS front end, so how would you call?
Actually, you have
to call
it. Yeah.
I can call it in Python very easily. So you can share your TypeScript code if you have handy. Otherwise, I'll share my.
Yeah, I don't have right now actually. It is you can use a different get method or fetch method. In that you have a response. So in the response.data you have your body result.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Let me copy paste my code. And just copy paste. Let me write you the complete code. if you are watching the chat window, you can see that I have write three things. First, I created a body in my code. Then I created a URL, and then I send URL in the body. So I'll get the response in my response object. The spelling, please ignore the spelling mistake, which is absolutely insane. But I hope you understand how we can call it in any sort of code. Awais, it looks correct?
Yes.
Or I'm doing some mistake?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's good. Actually, in the current scenario, what we are going to learn is how to design it on the YAML, and using the Swagger UI. You can just call it directly on the Swagger UI, so it will be easier to fetch the data on the Swagger.
This is good. Awais, can you show how could I call this from the Swagger API? I'm stopping my screen, please.
Actually, I have to just fetch all the thing. If you go to the let me give the link below. If you go here, you have sample data on that, and you have a sample scheme already on there. So for the UI representation, you can see that there is a different method which has been already been prepared in the Swagger. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess there is an example written. Can you share it?
It will look like that.
So what I need to do, I just create a Swagger.
I share the link in the chat window.
Okay. This is great. Okay. So, what I'm going to do next.
As you can see that if you go, you can see that there is a different method. There is a get method and the post method on the Swagger editor.
Clear editor. Okay. Import file. Edit. Generate server. Generate client. Okay. What next, Awais?
No, sir. Just go back. I want to show something else.
This is.
Yes. Now just stay there. There is some YAML already written on that, and there is some sample method we have on your right side of the screen. If you want to get anything, and if you want to call the get method, just click on the get method.
Okay, for example, let's
find by status. Just do.
Yeah. Okay.
Go with the find by status.
Go with the find by status. Where is the find by status?
On the, if you scroll
store or users? Is this users or? Okay, why not we go in the users and create with array or create with list?
Actually, this is basic example which I want you just.
Okay.
There is a method. Yeah,
okay.
The first method.
This is the first one. This is the first one is the pet, I guess. Is this you're talking about? This
yeah.
one?
Yeah. Okay. Just go and call the get method.
Okay, I called the post method. Actually, I have to call the get method. Okay.
Here you have to select the availability and select the status of available.
Okay. Available pending sold. Okay, makes sense. Do I need to try it out?
Yeah, first you have to try it out and select the response in the application/JSON.
Okay, response is the application/JSON. Okay. So try it out.
Yeah, now select available. The status available and execute.
So, guys, this is another approach to test your design in a Swagger editor. So you can say that how you call the get method of find by status and available and execute, and you can see that This is the Swagger says that how you can call this using the curl. It's a utility of Linux. Is a Linux command line command, and if you want to call this on your HTTPS servers, you can call this way, and that is the result you are getting. So if you want to further, just copy it and let's check that can it would be available or working. So you can see that I have called that and I will get that thing. So it's a bit somehow complicated, and maybe possible that we are going very fast. If somebody couldn't understand, please let us know so we could repeat or explain something else. Bashir Saab, could you please provide your valuable opinion that are we going good?
Yes, we are doing good. We are doing good. Thank you. One thing that I'm a little confused here is how does URL please know that it's a get and not a post?
Actually, what we are doing, we are designing an API. Okay, so when we are designing an API, we have a editor which help us to design an API. Okay, and for this API, we have a YAML file, and for testing that YAML file, we have this. For example, if you have designed an application with the API and you have designed the YAML API, so when you will put that YAML API in the Swagger editor, it will also provide you some UI to test it. Are you getting this?
Yes. Okay. Got it.
Okay. So you does not need to develop UI yourself. For example, you are a backend developer or you are a developer, but you did not design or develop your UI yet. So you does not need to design your user interface or graphical user interface yourself. That Swagger editor will help you to check it without creating or designing the front end of your API consumption. Am I right? So this help us to how to test our API. So we have designed our API. This is provide a user interface, so we can test in the user in a GUI mode, and as well as is not only provide us GUI mode. It's executing our testing, but also provide you how can we test in other way. For example, if I want to test on my command line parameter, or sorry, command line environment, so they are providing me that how could I test. For example, you are using PHP or some other server and you want to test it on the console, so you can use this command. And if you are to test all the HTTPS, you can use this command. And what the result will get, this is the result. So in this way, you just need to design your API or code your API, and that the Swagger would provide you a testing environment, so where you can test your API without creating its graphical user interface, front end, and anything else. I hope I have made myself clear.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else have any problem, any issue? So we are stopping here, but you can also check other things. For example, you can see there is a lot of other method available. For example, you can check this. This is also get, and there is also post method. So you can check this post method, and you can try to out. And for the try to out, you have to provide certain things. And this is a pet ID required. For example, I am saying the pet ID is 1. Okay, pet ID is 1. You can see. So this is the post method I am getting again, and there's so many things. So this is a very handy way. There is already example solutions exist, so you can use this Swagger API. So once you have designed our API, you can run. So I hope that now you have cleared that what does it mean? What does it mean by properties, username, password, and so many things. For example, if you can say this is the URL, and this is its what we will call this is the path actually, and this is the variable or parameter, and this status is available. So you can map this thing with this one, users, schema, content application. So when you will call the users, you can provide username, password, and full name, like that, this way. And when you will provide, you will get the result, and result would be in that, like that. So I hope you understand this thing and that thing. If anyone has any issue, please let me know. I guess only actually, Bashir Sahab, only you are available to provide us the feedback. Other people are either silent or have left this session.
Whatever. Yeah, much smarter than me, Manish.
Okay, so you are good with till here. At least you know what does it mean. This thing.
Yeah, I understand that. With the
okay, that's great. Thanks. You understand that how we will design the API and how it will response and how our YAML will create here.
Yes, sir.
And same thing, we can apply this thing to the Swagger API. So if you want to test, we can go and test this. The code is already written here, mentioned here, this thing, this type of things. You can go and check the code, and the form install API service is already in action. You have to go and get it. So this is the example is also already provided here. How could we try user ID, password, and many things. So I hope everyone has understand till here. Awais, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay. So because Zia Sahab is not with us, so we will just concluding our today's session here till 7.3, that how can we add a token and this type of things. So I'll ask Awais to provide his concluding remarks, and then we'll finish this session. We end this session.
Yeah, actually what we have seen up till now, we have seen in the previous chapter that we are testing our APIs without any authorization. So when we are creating or getting or posting anything, we are just doing it without any authorization, without any token. Up till now, to the 7.3 diagram, we have just seen that how you can add those tokens, and using those tokens, how you can just generate a user token for that. In the next class, we will see that what does the security means and how to create a token using the security component. So inshallah, we will meet in the next class. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, everyone. If there is no questions, let's end this session. Khuda Hafiz.